When you think of a cosmetologist, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably an artist, right? Someone creative with scissors and a hairdryer. But what if I told you that behind all that artistry is a whole lot of hard science? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the surprisingly scientific world of cosmetology.
So, let's kick things off with a little question for you. What do you think a university science student and a cosmetology student have in common? The answer might surprise you, and it really gets to the heart of what this profession is all about.
The answer? A whole lot more than you'd probably guess. The entire academic journey for a cosmetologist is actually built on the exact same pillars as a traditional science degree. We're talking chemistry, physics, and biology. And this isn't just a light overview either. It's a deep, foundational education in the hard sciences.
To really get this, let's imagine we're building a competency pyramid of a cosmetologist. The base, the absolute foundation of everything else, isn't about styling or makeup. No, it's this incredibly rigorous academic curriculum.
Just take a look at this. This is the very first semester of the program. They don't just jump right into the fun stuff. They start with Chemistry 1 and Physics 1 right there alongside the basics of beauty. It just goes to show you, from day one, science is the absolute main focus.
And believe me, this isn't some kind of physics light. The course description says, and I'm quoting here, that the goal is to understand the scientific laws of our physical world. We're talking about real-deal mechanics, heat, light, electricity, all concepts that have direct, everyday applications with the tools and treatments they use.
And to really hammer home how deep this goes, check this out. In Chemistry 2, they're learning VSEPR theory. Now that's a pretty complex model used to predict the 3D shape of molecules. So why does a cosmetologist need to know that? Well, because the shape of a molecule is what determines how it's going to interact with your hair and skin. Understanding this isn't about memorizing facts. It's the key to using products safely and getting them to actually work.
Okay, so why all this intense science? That brings us to the next layer of our pyramid, application. This is where we see how all that abstract theory connects to what they do every day. How does science actually translate to skin, hair, and nails?
For example, in their inorganic chemistry course, students study the properties of nonmetals, and that includes a compound you've probably heard of, ammonia. Now, on the surface, that sounds like something that belongs in a university lab, not in a salon, right?
So really, why on earth would a future hairstylist need to know the detailed chemical properties of ammonia? I mean, what does some molecule have to do with giving someone a great hair color?
Turns out it means everything. A deep understanding of ammonia is absolutely critical for hair coloring. See, it's used to change the hair's pH, which opens up the hair cuticles so the dye can get in. A cosmetologist has to know exactly how to manage that chemical reaction to get the color you want without, completely frying your hair. That is pure applied science, right there in the salon chair.
And of course, it goes way beyond chemistry and physics. There's also biology. A major required course is anatomy and physiology. And they're studying the very canvases they work on every single day: skin, hair, and nails. They have to know the human body, inside and out, on a structural and functional level.
And here's why that is just so important. They learn to identify common skin disorders. Now, they're not there to diagnose anyone. That's a doctor's job. But they need to know for safety. A properly trained cosmetologist can recognize when a service might actually be harmful for a client, and they know when to say, hey, you should probably see a doctor about this. This knowledge is absolutely crucial for keeping clients safe.
All right, so once we have that solid scientific foundation in place, we can finally build the next level of our pyramid, the artistry. This is the part everyone thinks of, the craft, the creativity. But what's so important to realize is that this artistry is only possible because of that deep scientific knowledge underneath it all.
So in the later semesters, the curriculum builds on that science with these advanced courses. You see things like hair and chemicals too. That's an even deeper dive. Advanced makeup, facials, spot therapies. None of this is just about technique. To do it right and to do it safely, it requires a profound understanding of product chemistry and skin biology.
And finally, that brings us to the very top of our pyramid, the apex. Because a great cosmetologist isn't just a scientist and an artist. They are also trained to be a professional and an entrepreneur, ready to manage a career and run their own business.
That's right, the training actually includes courses on salon management and how to be an entrepreneur. The goal isn't just to pump out skilled technicians. It's to empower graduates to become business owners and leaders in their industry. Okay, now I'm going to throw a number at you. 840.
Just 840. What do you suppose that could possibly represent?
That is the number of hours of mandatory work experience they need to complete just to graduate. Before they even get their diploma, every student has to put in 840 hours of hands-on practice in a real professional setting. They're applying everything we've talked about, from molecular chemistry to salon management, in the real world, with real clients.
So, after all that, after looking at the deep science, the artistry, the business training, and those hundreds of hours of practical requirements, let's ask our question one more time. What does it truly take to become a professional cosmetologist?
It really boils down to this unique combination. You need a scientist's mind to understand the why, the chemistry and biology behind every single treatment. You need an artist's hand to apply all that knowledge with real creativity and skill. And you need an entrepreneur's vision to actually build a career and a business from the ground up.
But in the end, why is all this intense training so important? Well, the curriculum itself gives us the answer. A key goal is to, and I quote, reduce the health hazards due to the service provided by untrained/unskilled human resources. So the next time you're in a salon, just remember, you're not just in the hands of an artist. You're in the hands of a trained professional whose deep scientific education is there for one primary reason: to protect your health and your safety.